Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 705. And in today's episode, we're talking about making decisions that will, without a doubt, transform your life. 100% in every way if you follow these 3 decisions. And there's technically a 4th one, but I'm going to call it like an overriding decision. But once you start to apply these in any endeavor, you will get the success you want. I know it to be true in every single way. Now, this is being broadcasted live on YouTube, so if you're listening to this in the future for me on the podcast, which is probably like 2 or 3 weeks out into the future, go ahead and join us live on youtube.com/Joseph Clough. And that means you can be a part of the live stream of this episode recording. We have a bit of a pre-show and after show, and I get to connect with you more. So it'll be a pleasure to be able to get to know you, because I want to fight for you. I want to fight for your dreams. I want to be in your corner. And of course, listening to hopefully the podcast episodes, you get value from this. But on the live stream, I get to know you a little bit more, and that means I'm really thinking about you as we go through these episodes. And on top of that, those in my program and so on, I really get to know them that bit more. But with that, let's get into why we should make these 3 powerful decisions. You see, most of the time in our life, we have been on the other side of decision making. We feel like the decisions in our life are out of our control. We feel like we're just a product of life. And it's easy as to why we would come to that conclusion. For a couple of reasons. Number one, the events that we go through, right? So the events that we go through can be problematic, traumatic, and cause us to be tripped up in where we're heading, to feel misaligned. Have you ever felt just conflicted? Ever felt as if there's a part of you missing? Or feel like that as much as you want something on the one hand, there's that part of you holding back, playing small, and never really getting to where you want to be. You might be making differences and changes, but deep down, we just feel this conflict, and that conflict can be described as a limiting belief. Like maybe I'm not worthy, maybe I'm not deserving, maybe I'm not capable. Maybe it's the fear, maybe it's the worry, maybe it's the dread, maybe it's all the baggage that we've built up over the past by the significant events that we've been through. Maybe we're told certain things. I know for me personally, when I was growing up, when that teacher made me stand up in front of all my classmates, and I was very unconfident anyway. And I was around 10, 11 years old, just before I was going to secondary school in England. And it was a math question, and I just did not know the answer. And in that moment, everyone's attention was on me. I felt that way, the anxiety, the fear, the worry, the blushing back then. And I was stuck, and I was lost, and I was confused in that moment. And then the teacher said that kind of sentence, which kind of came about like, if you don't know this, Joseph, how are you going to progress to the next level? And of course, I internalized that. I generalized it in such a way to everything I do. You see, we're generalizing creatures. So maybe the events that you've been through, maybe it was that one event. Maybe it was a series of events. We came to a conclusion that we felt out of control. Whether we felt out of control on how we feel, in other words, the emotions that are flooding through our neurology, whether it be the behaviors that we do not like and it doesn't support us. And those behaviors can be things like the blushing, it could be the anxiety, it could be the panic attack, it could be internal dialogue. When we say, look, am I going to get found out? Am I worthy of this? Am I capable of this? You see, we could be echoing those old events, interpreted as internalized thoughts, and what I would say even the stories that we tell ourselves. Ask yourself, what stories have you been telling yourself which are disempowering? What are the stories that we've been hypnotizing ourselves because of the events that we've gone through, would make us feel out of control and cause us to feel like we're stuck? You see, you've got to be consciously aware of these things. You can't allow it to be beneath the surface, and they are beneath the surface. You see, if you could just click your fingers and let go of that issue, that block, that fear, that conflict, you would. But if you cannot do it consciously, it must mean your unconscious mind is running the situation. It is running that story. It is running those decisions. You see, after a while, not only did those events cause us to make unconscious decisions in that moment when we didn't know better, because when we're very young specifically, we did not know better. We didn't have the conscious level of awareness to make better decisions. We were just frozen maybe in a significant event, and we made a decision based on what we had as knowledge and how we felt, and that's usually a protective mechanism. But that decision remained. It festered on the inside. It grew. Maybe it started in one area of your life. Have you ever noticed this? But it starts to actually bridge out to other areas too. Maybe it started in our relationships and then it kind of bled over into our career or into money or into fill in the blank, our health, all of those things. We make these decisions based on what is familiar and similar to us. So if we feel those anxiety thoughts in one situation, it will start to make other decisions in different situations which could be similar. And of course, that grows, that transcends into more pain. The fear and the pain of staying the same. So we make these unconscious decisions. We don't consciously make them. And that is why we feel like we're just a product of our life. Now, if we are truly to wake up the unconscious mind, and I really mean to get out of that sedation, to get out of that story, to get out of the programming, whether it be our past, whether it be society, whether it be just ourselves, we must shine a light to the unconscious mind and make it wake up, to get it to realize a few things. You see, we can carry on choosing the same story. It is a choice that we do, and the chances are many people will do, and maybe you will do. I don't want you to. I want to invite you to give up that story, to give up those decisions. But the reality is we do what is familiar and similar and the thing which has always been. You see, for example, in my main program, we let go of issues in 8 weeks. But we got to also realize that maybe there's 20, 30, 50, 60 years, 70 years of programming to undo. And that is why many people stay the same. So what I want to get through to your unconscious mind today is how you can make these powerful decisions. So rather your unconscious mind deciding for you based on those past events to decide something new. What would that feel like? Would you feel that bit of liberation? Would you maybe finally start to feel free? And weirdly, free and in control. Where you feel the abundant life when you go into your career and you just effortlessly progress and get the success, to get the finance, the abundance, or to get the relationships, or to get the health, the business. I mean, some people have dreams of being in business, to be an entrepreneur, to do what they love the most, but the decisions are holding us back. And these are the unconscious decisions based on that old programming. So we have to make some important decisions today about the 3 decisions I'm about to tell you. You see, the first decision that we have to make is the choice. Because it is choice. It is choice. I don't want you to, I'm going to go on a bit of a sidetrack here, because when it comes to me, I'm going to say it. I don't want us to get into the disempowering feeling of the lack of choice. This will push up against your boundaries because you feel like maybe you don't have choice. But in reality there's always an opportunity to choose something different. It always reminds me of that quote by Viktor Frankl in the book Man's Search for Meaning. I read that in a whole weekend. I was just so engrossed by it. But one of the quotes which always stuck with me, and if you didn't know or don't know, it's about Viktor Frankl's journey in the concentration camps. And he said, when you're unable to change the situation, you are challenged to change yourself. Now, if someone can go through that horrific experience, something that I hope none of us have been through, something similar. But if someone can go through that experience and come up with that methodology, that psychology, that when they're unable to change the situation, they are challenged to change themselves. So it is about choice. It is about proclaiming and reclaiming that you are ready to change and get what you desire, to become the person that you desire to be. To be and do what is right, whether it be being a role model for your family, because maybe our children pick up everything that we do subconsciously. We want to be able to stop that cycle. We don't want to pass that down to our family. We don't want to pass it down for the generations to come, from our children to our grandchildren to our great-grandchildren, all the way off into the future. It starts with us today, in a way that it stops with us today, because we are ready to choose something differently. So the first thing is that you've got to choose what you focus on. What have you been focusing on? Really think about it. Have we been focusing on the worry, the fear, the doubt, the anxiety? Have we been focusing on maybe the decisions, the beliefs that we're not enough? Have we been focusing on the inability? Have we been focusing on what society says, or what the economic situation is, or decisions based on what's happening around the world? We've got to choose what we focus on, because whatever we focus on, we build. I was thinking about this when I was going for my run today, and all thoughts, all beliefs, all feelings, and all behaviors are simply, or let me get it right actually, what is showing up in our world, what is in our environment, the results we're getting is really a mirror of our beliefs, of our thoughts, of our feelings, of our behaviors. It's a mirror. It is things that are just coming up into our reality because we are the mirror of those things. So we decide to choose on something better today. Because if we are choosing unconsciously, so I'm not putting blame here, I don't want you to feel like this is an attack. This is actually the liberation we're after. This is challenging to change ourselves. This is regaining the control and undoing the wrongs that have been our way, so we can be the example of what can be done despite those painful situations, despite those significant events, despite those people, despite all of it, that we choose to take the power today, that we are ready to do more, become more, and get exactly what we want. You see, when you decide to focus on what you desire, you're becoming the energetic match to that desire. As I always say, whatever you want wants you to. Whatever you desire desires you to. So when you choose to decide to tune into what you want, you become it. You become it. And we're speaking to this not on this episode or the next episode or it'll be one after the next episode. And it's all going to be about the dedication to be free. That we're going to decide to do something different. That we're going to be the example of what can be done. When we start to focus on the frequency of our desire and act upon it with conviction, which comes from Neville Goddard, assume the feeling and act upon it with conviction, and therefore you'll be aligned with your desire, we are saying and declaring and deciding that we are ready for more, that we are going to choose something better today. Every single moment, you have a choice to decide to focus on something different than you already are. So if you're choosing unconsciously to focus on debt, if you're unconsciously focusing on scarcity, if you're unconsciously focusing on the shame, the guilt, the hurt, if we're unconsciously focusing on I am not enough, or I am not worthy, or I'm not deserving, I'm fear rejection, I fear success, I fear like I'm going to get found out, it is ultimately a choice that we can choose to do something different today. And it could be as simple as just getting out there, going for a walk, going for a run. It could be putting music on. It could be getting to your gratitude. It can be all of these things. It could be doing the deep work where you start to unconsciously and consciously change to become the person you want to be. But the decisions about what you focus upon are going to be one of the 3 steps that will transform your life today, ongoing, forever. So you're no longer a product of life's experience. Instead, you are a product of what you choose to create. So number 1, focus on what you want. Think of yourself as a radio, that you're tuning into the station of abundance. You're tuning into the station of confidence. You're choosing out of pain into the heaven of your experience. You're starting to get your mind in such a powerful way that it serves you unconsciously. Now, the second thing I want to talk about when it comes to decisions is about deciding things upon what are meaningful to you. You see, the meaning is our value. Whatever we have a high value for, we develop more meaning. Some things are greater than others. Well, you've got to decide to put more meaning and value on your goal and your dream. You see, if you do not value yourself, if you don't have that high standard for who you are and where you're heading and what you're getting, your unconscious mind will decide the meaning for you. And it will place more meaning and more value on that fear, on that anxiety. And it will start to grow and expand. And as we said on the first one, if we focus upon that, it gets bigger and it bleeds more into our life. So start to develop and cultivate a new level of meaning. Are you deciding on the meaning of your life? Are you deciding on the meaning of the things that you do? You see, once you start to consider what is important to you. Now, as a quick analogy, and this is something that I have to decide myself. For example, I said about going for a run. I've got to decide on what I'm going to listen to. Today was very inspirational kind of things, and I wanted more meaning out of that. I could have just listened to music and that could have been good. I could listen to other podcasts and that could have been okay. But in this moment, I wanted more meaning on my experience. So as I was running in the sun, seeing the ocean in the distance, I was creating meaning in the time that I had there. And I was thinking about this episode, this live recording, of how I wanted to deliver it, how I wanted to be. And I was thinking about how I want to fight in your corner. I want to fight for your dreams. That is meaningful to me. That makes me do this. Because it's not about the money. It's not about the abundance. It's good and great. It gets you things. It gives you more freedom. It gives you more options and choice. But if you start there, you're never going to get anywhere. You have to focus on the meaning that you're delivering in your life. So that's how I like to operate my business, develop the meaning and the value to support people. And you've got to do the exact same thing to cultivate the meaning of your experience. So focusing and deciding on the meanings that you place upon is going to be crazy important. Are you going to put more meaning on the Netflix? Are you going to put more meaning on the Facebook? Or are you going to start put more meaning of what's important to you about your development? You see, everyone has time in the day to achieve their goals. You absolutely do. I don't care if it's 20 minutes every single day. I bet if you looked onto your phone and you began to look at all the statistics of how much time you spend on your phone, you will maybe be shocked or maybe not be shocked, because we kind of know what we do. If we're spending more value, more units of time on doing the things which aren't elevating our success and elevating our value, our experience, then we've got to decide on doing something differently. Now you can decide to go in a program, you can decide to listen to hypnosis tracks, you can decide to read a book, a podcast, whatever it is, there's a value scale here. Do you have more meaning on doing the things which don't serve you compared to the things which will serve you and your future self? Now, I'm not saying things like Facebook and Netflix are bad. I use Netflix, I use Facebook. But if something's happening in my life and I feel dark, I feel as if I'm lost, and if I felt like I was conflicted, I am going all for the meaning of letting that go. I'm going to let go of the behaviors which aren't serving me so I can focus on the things which will serve me. So number 2, decide on the meaning of you. Decide on the meaning that you place things. Decide on the meaning of who you're going to be in this world. And that leads us effortlessly and sequentially in deciding what you are going to do about the changes that you desire. You see, I can give you all the motivation. I could give you literally everything I did. Even I gave you my premium program, custom tailored. If you didn't put meaning on it, if you didn't do the work, you're not going to get that. You see, whenever I choose to work with any one of my clients, and it is a choice because I only want to surround myself with people I really want to fight in their corner because they're willing to do the work. So ask yourself, honestly and genuinely, are you putting good decisions in doing the things that are going to serve you? What decisions can you make which are going to give you momentum in getting those goals and dreams? Every single time we start to decide on creating the results we desire, we are reclaiming the power over our past. We're reclaiming the pain and the trauma which was given to us, and we're letting it go. We're handing it over. We're giving it up. We're deciding and declaring on being more today. That is the choice that you have. You have the choice in what the results that you create. Yeah, you need help sometimes, right? That's why I do my program. That's why I do these. Hopefully in the effort to help you liberate from those fears and those conflicts. But at the same time, you've got to be the decider of those things. You've got to be the creator of the results you get. And I call that like extreme ownership in who we are, extreme responsibility. Rather being a product of life, as I said, you start to be a product of what you choose in your life. Rather living on the effects side of the equation, the reasons and the excuses for staying the same, I want us to go, no, I'm done with that. I'm going to assume responsibility and start to decide and create the results that I desire. I'm going to start to put into momentum in the things that I do. You see, here's the thing. On the one level, you can have all the psychology, you can have all the emotional intelligence, you can have all the wishful, wonderful thoughts for your desires. You can assume all the wonderful feelings and tune into that frequency right there. But if you don't follow it up with the action, you could be a 10 out of 10 for psychology, but if you got a 0 or a 1 or a 2 out of 10 for the things that you decide on doing, you're not going to get there. But if you start to amplify and decide that you're going to get more by doing the deep work, doing the hard work, I see it as like looking into the mirror today and going, am I prepared to keep doing what I've always done, even if I'm doing the work but not doing the real work and not doing the massive action? I'm going to look in the mirror and go, I've got to be honest with myself. I'm not doing it. And that's the question you've got to ask yourself. Are you doing the work? Are you really investing in yourself? Are you doing all the things which are serving you, your family, your business, your career, your future self, your health? All of those things. Otherwise, we live in regret. We live in years to come on those missed opportunities. Because those opportunities were always there, but it came from deciding to take action on those. Now, I did say there's like an overall, like fourth one, like an overseeing fourth one, which really glues together the first one of deciding what you focus on, deciding what's meaningful to you, and deciding on what you're going to do to create the results that you want. And this is it. Every time we take people into my program, I always say, most people decide on fear. Most people in the world have always, throughout history, decided on fear. Because we are biological beings who have gone through situations, who have, through the generations, trying to protect ourselves from different tribes, to animals, to the environmental changes, all those things. It's always been in this fight and flight, this reactive mode of the easiest, quickest, safest way of being. But now in today's time, we are living in the more comfortable way than ever before throughout history. We might see a lot of trauma in the news, absolutely we do. I'm not negating that, but in the same notion, we are still living in the best time of our lives to be able to have more freedom than ever before. But most people in the world would decide on fear because it tries to keep you safe. And especially if we have an imposter syndrome, if we believe that we're not enough, we believe that we're not worthy, we believe we're not deserving, we believe we're not capable, we believe that we may get rejected, all those things, then we are absolutely deciding on fear. So in times of change, I ask you to do this. Rather decide upon your fear. Decide upon what is right, what is good for you in your future. Decide on what is right. Keep on asking that question. Am I going to decide on my fear, or am I going to decide on what is right today? Even if you don't know where you're heading, if you don't know, like, how am I going to get the investment to invest in myself to get the help that I want? How am I going to put the time into it? What are people going to think of me if I do a program or do the emotional work, or I see someone one-to-one? All those things, that's deciding on the fear. No, forget about everyone else. Those who are resourceful, those who are decisive, those who are dedicated will get the success in every way. So decide upon what is right in your life, what is right for you. Go all in on that. Otherwise, we go back to that level of feeling shame for staying the same. Otherwise, we have that fear and regret of the missed opportunity. And then we're going to look back over our life and eventually we're going to, why didn't I decide on what was right for me? Why didn't I do that? And it's going to come down to that fear that got in the way. I don't want you to get fear in your way again. To not make decisions based on fear, but make decisions based on what is right. Decide and declare it. Become the example of what can be done. Do all the things that is needed to make that change. For when you do that, you're able to transition to your dreams. You're able to be in alignment with your desires. You can make massive and inspired action and feel good about it, even if it isn't time, even if it's investment, because you know on the other side of time and investment and doing the work, of course, is the results that you've always craved in your life. That is what we do. Those main three decisions, plus the overseeing one of deciding on what is right, is going to transform your life. So commit to it, decide upon it, declare upon it, and get to work and do the work. It's all within you. I believe in you in every single way. And of course, if you ever need my help, and if you are a professional, you are dedicated, you're decisive, you're going all in on your future. You're ready to invest because you know what that emotional freedom is going to get you in the future. Go to josephclough.info/talk. There we'll be able to discuss with the team of what we want to let go of, what you want to let go of, exactly where you want to be, how your life's going to look like having made that change. Figure out what's getting in the way. And then if we can support you, help you, and transform you, we'll definitely let you know, and we may invite you into the program. Like I said, there's an investment, but this is going to be an investment where you live the life of your freedom for the rest of your life. So once again, that is josephclough.info/talk. Only if you're truly ready to make that change. With that, my friends, I hope you got value from this. Wherever you get my help, like I said, it's not for everyone. You got to be a professional. You got to be a professional person who's dedicated. But when you get to that place and you're ready to invest, then yeah, maybe we can have that conversation. But either way, I want you to transform your life in the most wonderful way where you can enlighten the illusionary darkness and become who you desire to be. And it all comes with a decision. the decision to focus on what you focus upon, the decision to the things which are meaningful to you, the decisions of the things that you do, and then finally the decision to do what is right. And with that, my friends, I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode, and I'll speak to everyone else on the live in just a few moments. Many thanks and goodbye.